Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Antec and welcome to Tech Saturday episode 4, where today I'm giving you guys a $1,000 AMD gaming PC build. But if you guys would prefer a $1,000 Intel gaming PC build, click the link in the description below. That'll take you to my previous Tech Saturday where I did a $1,000 Intel gaming PC build. But without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so for the CPU, I went with the AMD FX 6200 3.8 GHz 6-core processor. Yes, you heard me right, it's a 6-core processor, but you're going to be seeing performance around the 3rd gen, like first starting Intel i5 range. So somewhere close to the 3rd gen i3. You're still going to be getting some pretty good performance, but you know, if you want better performance, you could go ahead and get better CPU. But for a $1,000 build, this is going to be a really good CPU. And for $138.98, this is one thing that I love about AMD. They are just really, really cheap with their components. And speaking of cheap, for the cooler, the CPU cooler, I went with the Cooler Master RR-H101-22FK-RA. This is the same CPU cooler that I went with in my last build, just a different name. The only thing that's really different about it is the way you put it on top of your CPU, and that's it. The noise level is at 22 decibels, and the fan RPM is at 2200 RPM. And for $14.98, you know, you really can't beat this one. It's cheap, and it'll keep your CPU cool. For the motherboard, I went with the MSI 970A-G43 ATX AM3 Plus motherboard. It is using the AM3 Plus socket, so it is not compatible with AMD APUs. It is also using the AMD 970 chipset. It has 4 240-pin DIMM slots. The memory speeds go all the way up to 2133 MHz. The max memory it supports is 32 GB. It does have RAID support, which is awesome. No onboard video. It does have Crossfire support, but it does not have SLI support, which I just think is weird. This is one really cool thing about it, is all the SATA ports on this motherboard, they're all SATA 6. So even though like for an optical drive or something like that, you really don't need it. But yeah, it also has onboard USB 3 headers, so you don't have to sacrifice any of your USBs in the back. And yeah, for $69.98, this is a fantastic motherboard. It's just really great. Alright, so for the memory, I went with the Corsair XM-S3 8GB. This is two 4GB sticks, DDR3 memory clocked at 1600 MHz. The reason why I chose this one was because it's cheap. It's only $54.99, and it also has a heat spreader on it, so you know, you're gonna have that memory for a long time. And you really don't need more than 4GB for gaming or whatever. Unless you're like doing like hardcore HD video editing, you may want to go up to 16 or maybe max it out to 32 GB of RAM. But you know, this is good enough for a gaming PC, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. Alright, so I didn't do this in my last build, but since AMD components are just super cheap, I was able to put in a Kingston SSDNow V300 series 120 gigabyte SSD. So once you load Windows onto this SSD, it's going to just boot it up super quickly. How quick, you may be asking? I'm thinking around 7 seconds to have your computer up and running. So yeah, having an SSD is just a great upgrade to a computer, and since AMD components are so cheap, you can add this in there if you wanted. And for $84.99, that is a great price for an SSD, since SSDs are really expensive nowadays. But don't worry, I have another storage device. We're also going to be using the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB 3.5-inch hard drive. I went with this one because you really can't beat this. It spins at 7200 RPM, a terabyte hard drive, and it has 64 megabyte cache. And for $65.58, you really cannot beat this hard drive. So yeah, you're gonna have your Windows on your SSD and then have everything else on the hard drive. It's just gonna be great. It's gonna be a great PC. Alright, the piece de resistance, the GPU. This is the most important part with a gaming build. I went with the Radeon HD 7950. It has 3 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory. It has a core clock of 800 megahertz, but I'm pretty sure you can just overclock it to say 900 megahertz. Anything above that might be a little too much, but it has 1 DVI dual link, 1 HDMI port, and 2 mini display ports. I went with this one because you're going to be getting some great 1080p performance out of this, and it's only $294.98. So, you really can't beat this card. It is a great card. Oh, and don't worry, it does have a fan on the card. So, don't worry about it. It has a fan. Alright, so for the power supply, I went with the same power supply as last time. I went with the Antec High Current Gamer 620 watt 80 plus bronze certified power supply. I went with this one because it is a modular power supply, so that's going to help out with cable management. 620 watts is more than enough than we actually need to power the system. If you're going to do crossfire with it, I would suggest getting either a 750 watt power supply or maybe something in the thousands. But for $94.55, this is going to power your system and it's just going to run great. For the optical drive, since AMD components are just really cheap, I was able to put a Pioneer BDC-207 DBK Blu-ray reader / DVD / CD writer. So pretty much, if you're building a home theater PC, you always want to have a Blu-ray drive in it. But, if you just don't feel like playing a video game or something on your computer, you could just pop in a Blu-ray and watch a movie in high definition. And for $37.98, this is going to be a really good addition to your computer. And now the housing system for this computer, I went with the NZXT Source 210 Elite ATX mid-tower case. This is the white model, but they also have a black model. As you guys can see, if you look in the middle on the, well, not right next to the hard drive cages, but a little bit to the right, or to the left, I mean, you have some cutout holes. That's for cable management, so you can open it up on both sides. It's going to have more than enough space than you actually need for a computer. It is a really awesome design, in my opinion. I just don't like that the hard drive cages are not removable. But for $42.79, this is going to get you what you need. So you're good to go there. And finally, for the operating system, people are going to hate me for this. I went with Windows 8 because I like Windows 8. Not a lot of people like it. If you don't like it, you could go to Windows 7 if you would prefer that. But for $89.98, Windows 8 is a great option. You're getting the latest operating system from Microsoft, and it's really cheap. Usually it runs for about $100 to $200, but this one is only $89. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the build. The estimated wattage that this computer will be using is 440 watts, so the 620 watt power supply will work for you guys. And the overall cost for this machine is only $989.78, so they even touch that $1,000 limit. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smack that like button. It helps me out a lot. And if you guys would like to suggest what I should do for next week's build, I have an idea, but I'm not sure if it's ready. So yeah, let me know in the comment section what price point I should do a PC build on. And that is it, and I will see you guys in the next video. This is your boy Hagduck3, and I'm out. God bless.